if you'd please start by just stating and spelling your full name for the record.
Megan, M-E-G-A-N, Elizabeth, E-L-I-Z-A-B-E-T-H, Hoffman, H-O-F-F-M-A-N.
Thank you. Go ahead, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Megan.
Good morning.
First, I want to ask you a little bit of questions about yourself. How old are you?
I just turned 40 the week Mel was killed.
Welcome to the club. Although I'm almost on the 50 side of it. Where do you live?
North Liberty,
How long have you lived in North Liberty?
since February.
Where'd you live before that?
Marion,
What address in Marion did you live?
1240 South 12th Street.
And that's in Lynn County, right?
Yes.
How long did you live at 1240 South 12th Street?
It was just over a year.
While you were there, who did you live with?
Melody, my daughter.
Melody Hoffman?
Yes.
What is Melody's, what was her date of birth?
12903.
So in February of 2024, was she 20 years old?
Yes. In December of 2023, she was 20 years old.
And what were you doing for a living then back in February?
I work at a mechanical contractor as a, I do a lot of stuff there. I don't know that I have just one title, but I just celebrated my 8th year there, so I've been there for a while.
What company is that?
RMB Mechanical Contractors, or RMB Company Incorporated.
Megan, do you mind, can you move that microphone up to you a little bit or move closer if that's possible there? Just, you're good, but just to hear you a little better.
Okay.
Great. I think that's better. Good. How long did you work for that company?
It was 8 years on Halloween.
You still work for them?
Yep.
But you live in North Liberty now. Who do you live with?
Melody's father, T.J. Tyler Hoffman. My significant other.
And so TJ is Melody's father, and you're also together with him as
Yes, correct.
in a relationship.
Yes.
I'd like to show you an exhibit at
Okay.
this time. It's going to be on that screen right there in front of you. It states exhibit number 10A. Do you see that? Not yet?
It's black.
Okay, sorry.
No objection.
10A is admitted.
And we get opportunity, we'd like to publish that, Judge. Okay. All right, Megan, now I'm going to ask you a few questions about Melody, okay, and have you tell us about her. First of all, can you just give us a kind of a general description of Melody's personality?
Outgoing, bubbly, lively, caring, loving, compassionate, would do anything to help anybody or animals. She volunteered at the animal shelter in Lynn County. She would typically, I specifically remember she and I were shopping at the mall, and we were walking, and some lady, and I was thinking, she was an elderly lady, and I was thinking, wow, I think that sweater, Christmas sweater, came from the 80s or 90s. It was very loud and bright and bells and glitzy and stuff, and I was like, whew. Next thing I know, Mel's walking up to that lady and says, I like your sweater. And I know I had a look on my face. Like,
Is that how?
we walked past this lady, and I go, did you really like her sweater? And Mel's like, no, I just wanted to see her smile.
Is that a pretty good description of the way Mel would interact with people?
Absolutely. Complete strangers, she didn't care.
We're going to talk a little bit more about some aspects of her personality, but first I want to ask you on or about February 17th, 2024, about kind of what she was doing in her life. So she's 20 years old. Was she going to school or anything?
No.
Had she gone to any kind of school after high school?
She went to Kirkwood for a short time. She loved it. She just didn't get the grades that were required, but she absolutely loved it.
Did she go there with any kind of purpose or any kind of major?
She wanted to go into the medical field of some kind. She wanted to, I think it was called medical assisting is what she was going into at that time.
So she didn't continue with that because of grades?
Yeah.
Was she at all planning to go back to school or just kind of going with the flow?
She was going to look into like maybe a job at a nursing home or, something still in the medical field where you didn't need a higher education.
Was she working at that time?
No.
Did she hold a job or work at all either during high school or after?
No, she was just volunteering at the animal shelter.
Was there a reason that she didn't have a job?
She was on disability, and she didn't have a vehicle. She did learn how to ride the public transportation well, but we just kind of played it safe, and she didn't have to have a job, and I thought she would get great social interaction at the animal shelter.
We'll talk a little bit about the disability here in a minute, too. Want to ask you, just kind of give us an idea of what her usual day was like.
So a weekday, I would get up and go to work, but I was always in constant contact with her. She'd call work, she'd call my cell phone, or she'd just send me text messages. I'd ask her, hey, are you up yet? Yeah, I just had cereal for breakfast. Or so she'd get up, do cereal, whatever for breakfast. I can say that I never had to clean our apartment because she did. She loved to clean. Sometimes a little too much. I came home one time and the cupboards were all cleaned out and they looked fabulous, but the food cupboard I noticed was missing a lot of stuff, and I said, what happened to the macaroni and cheese? I threw it away. I don't like it. And I'm like, oh, well then. But
So she'd clean and also make some menu choices.
yes.
So what kind of week would she have then? So during the workday, you're at work, she stays at home. Did she do anything socially at the time? Or?
She was helping my mom and her step-grandpa out a lot. They only live a mile away from us. Mom has chronic hip issues, back issues. Phil also has back issues. So she'd hop on the city bus and go over to their house and help them out. On Wednesdays, there would be they always called it going to coffee with the boys and going up to see what would be my step niece and nephew and hanging out with the little kids and stuff on Wednesdays.
So you mentioned earlier that she was on disability. Can you tell us what kind of disability she had been diagnosed with?
She had a mild intellectual disability.
Tell us what that means.
So instead of her being able to process everything at what you would think a 20-year-old would be able to process stuff, it was more like she processed it at a 14 or 15-year-old's ability. Sometimes I would just have to rephrase things so that way, like, she would understand, if somebody was trying to tell her something or whatever, I could assist, and then she would eventually, like, fully understand stuff. You just had to maybe word something a little less precise or change it just a little bit.
So I have a 14-year-old, and sometimes you have to, you realize maybe you're talking a little bit too adult to them.
Yes.
You have to kind of put things in more simpler terms so they understand.
Right.
Okay. My 14-year-old's literal sometimes, so I'll say something that an adult would understand as maybe making a metaphor or something, but they'll look at you like, what are you talking about?
Uh-huh.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And after you're able to describe things to her in these terms, was she generally able to understand and be able
Yes.
to function then?
Yeah.
Did that mild intellectual disability then also prevent her from, being able to maybe have certain jobs, get certain jobs?
Yeah, I would think so, that, some people maybe wouldn't be as understanding, and definitely holding a higher position in a company would be very difficult.
Because of Melody's disability, did she also have difficulties sometimes understanding social situations and relationships compared to maybe women her natural age?
I would think so. She would come talk to me about things just all the time. She was very open with me, and I would help her, and I think that helped her a lot. But I think that she kind of, like, they're not being your friend, they're actually picking on you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there might be occasions would she tell you a story about something and like you realize that maybe the people weren't being kind to her?
Yeah.
In those occasions, would you have to explain to her kind of your observation of it, and maybe you're taking this differently than was intended?
Yep.
Would you describe Melody as a trusting person?
Very.
Why would you describe her as a very trusting person?
I guess she had no reason not to trust people. She just trusted everybody.
Did she have a lot of people in her life, like you and other family members, that kind of maybe contributed to that?
I would think so.
And was she the type of person that would maybe put immediate trust in a stranger more than maybe someone of her natural age? Like, trust strangers more?
Yeah.
Is that something you noticed her doing?
Yeah, she'd, like I said, at the mall, she'd just walk up to a random stranger, and it didn't matter if it was a elderly lady or a young kid, or it didn't matter who it was. It was just, she wanted everybody to be happy and feel good.
Did Melody have a cell phone?
Yes.
And so, for example, did she have passcode on that cell phone?
Yes.
Did you know what it was?
Yes.
What was it?
I can't remember the numbers exactly, but it was the room number of the hospital that her sister was born in.
Was Melody the type of person who might, if somebody would ask, might give them her passcode if she trusted him?
Yeah. She would really have to trust somebody, though, because she loved that phone.
Was Melody also in social situations or otherwise sometimes more susceptible to suggestion, maybe to do
Yeah.
things that weren't in her best interest? Can you maybe explain that?
You should be easily persuaded. I can think of a couple of times that kids at school had said, hey, why don't you do this? And she did it, and then she got in trouble. And then eventually down the line we figured out, oh, that was suggested to you by somebody else.
So maybe she could be persuaded to do things that weren't in her best interests or were
Or that she
wrong.
really didn't want to do initially. She would eventually give in and do it.
Did you ever find out or determine from knowing her why it is that she was more why she would agree to do things maybe that weren't in her best interest?
No. I was just thankful that we had an open line of communication and I could help her determine certain things.
Do you believe that this trusting and maybe susceptible to persuasion aspect of her personality was because of who she was as a person, her disability, or both?
Well, I never knew her without the disability, so I'm going to have to say both.
Okay, that's a good answer. Did you know Melody also to be sometimes more susceptible or more suggestible to make decisions that may actually imperil her own personal safety?
Occasionally. Wasn't a frequent thing. It was just, there was occasionally like, don't do that. That might hurt you.
Did she put herself in any dangerous situations?
I don't know about like super dangerous, just like, in the kitchen, to keep your finger away from the knife. Well, she would be like, "Da, da, da," and I'd be like, you're cutting a potato.
Yeah. So sometimes, did you see and witness her just not always ahead of in the decision-making process of looking out for herself?
Not thinking about the consequences before actions.
What did you do as her mother to try to protect her, since you weren't with her all the time, from, making decisions or being susceptible to being persuaded to do things that aren't in her best interest? What did you do to kind of help?
Again, I have to say we had a very open line of communication. We had a code word where if she sent that to me, I knew like, okay, hold on guys. What if I was at work or whatever, I would call her and be like, hey, what's up? Like, something's going on, tell me. Very trusting relationship between her and I. Also, I had a camera in my living room. I had Life 360 on her phone. I could also see She had me as emergency contacts, and there are many things that we had in place for her to see where I was and for me to see where she was.
You mentioned Life 360. So did you have the ability through your phone to sort of track her movements, where she was when she wasn't with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about, we had a little testimony earlier, but can you just tell us generally how Life 360 worked for you?
Okay, Life 360 is kind of like a Google Maps app. You can see a map, you can see the location of the person. You can, if you have it up and the person's moving, you can watch them on their path of wherever they're going. It tells you, like if they're in a car, it tells you what speed they're going. I think it saves it for, like, I don't pay for the subscription, so it only saves it for 24 hours or something like that. It might be a week. I can't recall off the top of my head, but only saves a small chunk of it. But yeah, if you were looking at it, you could see exactly where somebody was going. So originally when we put it on her phone, I would drop her off at her dad's house and she would get on the bus and go to school. I needed to make sure she was getting to school. So then you can set up circles, is what they're called, and if that person enters the circle, you can get a notification. So we had circles for home, for school, for grandma's house, for dad's house, and they changed. You know, we didn't need the high school one anymore, so we switched it to a different location. And you can set up alerts when they come and leave that location.
So did you have one of these circles around your house then back in February? So with that, would Life 360 then notify you if she moved outside of the circle so you knew she was leaving? Okay. And then on the other side of it would notify you if she's close?
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned you installed cameras in your house. Can you tell us about those?
There was one camera in my living room sitting right on top of the TV.
So you just had one?
So we had like the Alexa, I don't know what they're called. They had cameras, but I didn't have them going. I had a Blink camera in my living room at all times.
And so you had the camera that was in your house. So through what company did you have that? What kind of camera is that?
Blink.
Did you have an app on your phone where you could also access that camera to, like watch her when she was at home and stuff?
Yeah.
When you were at work, would you frequently check to see where she was at and if she was home, things like that?
I had it set up so I would get the notification if she left home. And if she left home, I'd be like, hey, where are you going? I'm going to grandma's house.
Okay.
Something like that.
Were you a helicopter parent?
Do I have to answer that?
No. It's okay. A lot of us.
I tried to give her privacy, but I also tried to keep her secure and safe.
Tell us about her friendships back in February of 2024. Did she have a lot of friends?
No. A couple people that she talked to from like high school and middle school and stuff, and they'd all group chat, and so I'd be listening. It sounded like a bunch of junior high kids on speakerphone, and so she would, talk to all of these kids, and everything was on speakerphone. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go in the other room, because have you ever listened to a room full of junior high kids?
Yeah, you bet. So did she see those friends very often, or was that just kind of chatting?
Just over the phone.
When she left high school, did some of these friends kind of like go off to college, get jobs, things like that?
Yeah, most of them went off to college.
And when they did that, Melody was, like you said, she was still at home with you, sort of.
Yeah, she went to Kirkwood right out of high school for a semester. I can't remember how long it was for sure. So she was doing that stuff too, but afterwards, all of her friends were still in college, and so then that's when she was more at home, and we were trying to get her into more volunteering things like the Lynn County Animal Shelter, and at that time my mom was having some serious hip problems, and she ended up having a hip replacement. So Mel was very helpful during that whole period.
So you did what you needed to do to hopefully just keep her busy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So moving from the friends, to your knowledge, did she have anybody that would be considered an enemy or somebody that she had a conflict with?
Nobody. I don't know of any enemies.
What about young men? Was she interested in young men?
She was a 20-year-old female. Yes.
Can 20-year-old females still be boy crazy?
Absolutely.
Oh, God.
You got a ways to go.
Well, describe that. What do you mean? How would she be? How did she show her interest in men? Was she meeting men, or
No. I know that she was on like dating app or dating website or something, and she'd be like, "Mom, look at this guy. He's really cute." And this was prior to October. Mom, this guy has a nice car. Like, I don't know. It's just.
so she talked to some of these men on online and stuff?
I would assume so. Just a chat. Nobody ever, as far as I know, she didn't meet anybody other than the defendant in person.
So prior to meeting the defendant, did she have any other boyfriends?
Just a couple little ones in high school, but they weren't serious, or they were probably just somebody to go to homecoming with, or, it wasn't, no super serious relationships.
Was the defendant her first real boyfriend?
That I'm aware of.
Okay. Did she have social media accounts?
Yes.
Okay. What social media accounts did she have?
TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. That's what I got.
Okay. And you let her use those accounts, and
Yep.
like most other people her age have something along those lines.
Yep. For the most part, I had all the username and passwords. I could log in whenever I wanted. And
Did she ever make multiple accounts?
I do know of one time that she did make a multiple account.
Okay.
Made one of, I don't even know what the name was, but she was not able to express her feelings face to face or even as herself to her grandfather, and she made an account, and she let him know how she was feeling.
Okay. So this was an account under a different name she did once to do this? So going to February 17th of 2024, prior to that time, you mentioned that Melody and the defendant became an item. Can you tell us, to the best of your recollection, when she met the defendant?
Towards the end of October of 2023.
And when did you meet him?
Probably about the same time. Just a few days later or something.
And do you see him in the courtroom today?
I'm sorry.
Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Okay, just identify him for us if you could.
McKinley Louisma.
In the blue shirt next to his attorneys?
Yes.
May the record reflect a witness identified defendant, Your Honor.
It will.
Was there a time when the relationship between Melody and the defendant got to the point where he would actually stay at your house?
Yes.
Okay. Would he
Very
stay
fre-
overnight?
Yes, very frequently.
Do you know how they met?
I would assume online.
Can you tell us what impression you had of the defendant when you first met him?
He was very polite, very helpful. We sat down and I laid down my ground rules for being in my home. They weren't just for him, they were for both of them. After a while, like, he would go grocery shopping with us. He would go to the laundromat and help carry the laundry. We would go out to eat.
How did their relationship proceed then from that beginning and at the end of October, kind of over the next couple of months?
I'm sorry, can you
How
repeat?
did their relationship proceed then?
It appeared to be very good, and like they were together all the time, and I never seen an argument or a fight or a nothing like that. It was like caring, and when I got home, the supper would be made, or they would be working on it, and I'd be like, okay guys, you're not going to go hang out in the other room. I've been gone all day. Get out here and hang out with me. Let's watch a movie. Let's play Uno. Let's I don't know how many games of Uno we played, but Melody loved Uno.
So when did he begin staying regularly at your residence?
It was probably in November.
Did it seem like they were moving a little fast?
Yeah.
You kind of explained a little bit to us, but at this point in time, would you say you got along with them? Mm-hmm. Is that yes?
Yes.
On the other side of this, he also had some parents in town, right?
Yes.
Okay. And would Melody ever go stay the night over at his house, at his parents' house?
I was aware of one time that she stayed over there, or I can recall one time that she stayed over there. I can't remember right now if there was more than one, but in my lease, it said I couldn't have visitors longer than 7 days, and he'd been there for 7 days. So I was like, okay, you need to go spend time with your parents. You're going to break my lease. Go spend time with your family, and then you can come back. And Mel's like, well, can I go stay with him too? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So they went and spent the night over there and came back the next day.
To your knowledge, did she ever spend the night at his house without telling you?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you have the type of relationship with her that if she were to go spend the night somewhere else, that she'd let you know?
Yes.
If she would go spend the night at his house or anywhere, would she bring anything with her usually?
At least her purse.
Did Melody buy things for the defendant?
Yes.
What kind of things?
She bought or had me purchase for her bracelets off of Amazon, a his and hers bracelet.
What's that?
I think hers bracelet was a white beaded bracelet, and it had a queen's crown on it. And then I think the other one was a black beaded bracelet, and it had a king's crown on it.
You remember how much that was?
I don't off the top of my head. $20 or something.
Anything else you're aware of that she bought for him?
Probably pop and food and stuff at the gas station. I always told them that they were welcome to eat anything in the house, and they could have anything in there.
And were those things that you would pay for then, that she would buy for him, or she would do with her own money?
I kept track of her money, but if she asked me and told me what she was going to go buy, with it, I'd be like, okay, you can have $20. But I wouldn't give her all of her disability money, because she did help pay bills in the house too. So I wouldn't just hand that over to her, but I would give her money if she requested it.
To your knowledge, did she ever buy him a phone?
Not to my knowledge.
Is that something she'd be able to afford?
No.
What happened to their relationship?
I'm not entirely sure, other than he just, I don't know if it was just bluntly lying to her. He would, and she had many phone conversations on speakerphone, not with just him, but everybody. And I would hear him say, "I'll be there in 5 minutes." 2 hours later, he was nowhere to be found.
Did that happen? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And that happened more and more and more frequently over time, to the point that I was like, okay, I'm tired of seeing this happen. He's playing games. We need to separate for a while. You guys can still be friends. Just give each other a little space and a little time. And I don't know what's going on. I knew he had a lot going on. I knew of a possible baby, and he wanted to be in that child's life and help take care of it. I respect that. And I always would tell her, don't make his problems your problems. You have your own problems. He has his own problems. Don't make his problems your problems. And after me sitting for nights on end consoling her because he didn't show up again, that's when I was like, okay, you make the decision, but this is what I see.
Approximately when did that start happening, that he basically would ghost her? That he'd say he was coming over and then not show up?
So now looking back, I don't recall like the first time that it happened, because it was so vague and like, oh, well, he got busy. Okay. I didn't think twice about it, but December, in December sometime, and then it just got worse and worse into the very beginning part of January, maybe even.
And did they end up breaking up?
Yes.
And who broke up with who?
I'm pretty sure she broke up with him.
You remember what day they broke up?
Prior to the 7th.
Prior to the 7th of January?
Yes.
Based on your observations, at least, did the breakup appear to be amicable?
Yeah.
Do you recall making an arrangement with him to come pick up some of his property from your residence?
Yes.
Was there some tension around that?
There was.
What kind of tension?
I would say your typical, like, high school breakup. No, I'm not giving you your stuff back. No, I'm not giving you your stuff back. And, like, I'm going to throw away all your stuff. No, we're going to be adults here. Neither one's going to throw away each other's stuff. I'll be the middleman. Give me all of his stuff. You give me all of her stuff. And I will swap it.
Your Honor, I'd like to show the witness states exhibit number 10K.
Right displayed.
Do you see states exhibit number 10K, Megan?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen this before?
Yes.
And what is this?
A text message over, not text message, Facebook Messenger messages between myself and McKinley.
Is this a conversation between you and the defendant regarding the like at the end of the relationship
Yes.
between he and Melody, and then arranging for him to come pick up the property?
Yes.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of that conversation?
Yes.
Move to enter states 10K, Your Honor.
Any objection to 10K?
No, Your Honor.
10K is admitted.
And publish that when we get a chance, Your Honor. We'd like to publish that, please.
Now publishing.
Thank you. So, Megan, when we're looking at this exhibit here, states number 10K, I guess so we know what we're looking at here at the top, there's the letters KXNG. Who's that?
McKinley.
And so does this show that you're talking in this Facebook Messenger conversation with McKinley Louisma's Facebook profile?
Yes.
And right here in the kind of blue background here, bluish purple, is this you?
Yes.
Okay, can you just read for us what you're telling him? And slowly, if you could.
I'm sorry, this screen up here I can't see the end of it at all.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Are you able to read it from up here at all? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you have a lot going on and that you need to figure out. I've told her that multiple times. The thing that makes me mad is when I hear you say you'll be here, or you will be back, or I'm sorry, you'll be back, and then you don't show up. I agree you two can be friends, but give it time. Get your issues under control first, and then you can work on friendships. And then I said, send me some kind of receipt of what she owes you, showing where it was spent and how much, and I can send you the payment back over Facebook Pay. That's the only app I had at the time. I plan on sleeping in tomorrow. I can text you when I get up and let you know that I have gathered all of your stuff and I am ready for you to come get it. I'm guessing it'll be around 2 p.m., but I'm not for sure. Do you have anything of hers that you need to return?
Okay, and then we see his response here, and on the exhibit, does he say just her portable charger she lent me, that's all I have for her, and okay?
Yes.
All right. And then going down to the next sort of screenshot here, what did you ask him then?
Do you have her jacket still?
And then does he respond, no, she has that, you don't need to pay anything, that's fine, that can be replaced, well, y'all have a good night?
Yes.
Okay. And then how do you respond?
You too.
And then what do you tell him?
If you ever need any advice, you can always send me a message on here. I will be happy to help. Take care.
And then we see on this exhibit here, January 7th, 2024 at 1:32 p.m. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is that the day that the defendant came to pick up his property?
Yes.
And what do you tell him on that day at 1:32 p.m.?
I have your stuff ready. Or, I'm sorry, I have your stuff for you.
And does he respond, okay, thank you, am allowed to come get them right now?
I think so, but I can't see the bottom of the screen again.
Oh, okay, yeah, we can see there. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then what do you say in response to that?
So after his response, yeah, I'm here. Please bring Mel's charger with you. Let me know when you get here and I'll bring it down.
Thank you. I think that's it for this exhibit for now here. So, did McKinley Louisma then come over on January 7th, 2024 and pick up this property that you arranged for him to pick up?
Yes.
And based at least on your presence there at that time, did anything happen that it resulted in a conflict or anything at that time?
No.
But there had been some previous back and forth about, I'll throw this away or that away, and you owe me this, and things like that.
Yeah.
Was that between Melody and the defendant?
Yeah. Melody didn't see the defendant on that day.
And just to kind of touch on something we talked about earlier, on or about this January 7th, 2024 day, to your knowledge, was Melody spending any substantial time with anybody else?
No.
And did she have any other boyfriends? Did she have any enemies?
No.
about that date when the defendant and Melody had broken up and there was this arrangement for him to come pick up his property that involved that previous tension and whatnot. Do you recall Melody receiving a concerning text message?
Yes.
At that time, were you able to determine who that text message was from?
Not positively.
Like, did it have a number that you recognized?
No.
Did the text message include what appeared to be a specific reference to Melody?
Possibly.
To your knowledge, Megan, was Melody's phone number generally available to the public, to anybody who doesn't know her?
I don't think so.
I want to show you then, if I could, what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 10H.
Okay. I can see all of that one.
Okay. Do you recognize State's Exhibit number 10H?
I do.
Does this contain that text message that Melody received on or about January 7th of 2024 on her cell phone?
Yes.
And was that sent to her cell phone number?
I'm not sure.
The message?
When I seen it, it was on an iPad, and I know that she had the iPad and her cell phone linked, and they could get messages intertwined, but I'm pretty sure it was sent to her phone, because I was also able to see it on her phone.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of the way that message read when you saw it on her iPad that was connected to her phone?
Yes.
Move to enter State's Exhibit number 10H.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor, we object to the omission of 10H. We stand on a prior record made.
The objection is overruled for the same reasons stated in the court's earlier rulings on motions in limine. 10H is admitted.
We'd like to publish that when we have a chance, Your Honor.
H is published now.
Okay, Megan, we're looking at State's Exhibit number 10H. Is this then the message that Melody received?
Yes.
Was this, based on your observation of Melody, did she appear to be alarmed by this?
Yeah.
Were you?
Yes, very.
And for the record here, this message, I hate to do this to you, but can you read it?
Yep. Just know that you're a dead girl. Don't worry, when you least expect it, we're going to get you and get you. Call the cops if you want. They're not going to protect you. All the time, you retarded ass bitch. I hate you and I hope you. You and your family ain't safe. Bitch boy, on GD, we finna to make it red and paint your whole house red.
When you received this message, did you report it?
Absolutely.
To who?
The Marion Police Department.
And did the Marion Police Department then take a report from you on that?
Yes, they came to the house that night.
As a result of this message, before February 17th of 2024, did you ever figure out where this message came from?
I had a good idea where it came from immediately.
Under the circumstances present in Melody's life at that time, and based on the things we talked about, what opinion do you have about where it came from?
I do believe it came
Your
from
Honor,
the
objection.
defendant.
This calls for speculation.
Sustained. And the jury will disregard the prior answer.
Was there anybody other than the defendant in Melody's life that you believe could have sent this?
Objection, Your Honor. It calls for speculation.
Overruled.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, we can take that down now, Judge.
Is that?
Well, we can take that down now. I'm going to ask some more
sorry.
questions. And just to clarify here, on what day did you get that message?
January 7th.
That was the same day as the exchange of property with Mr. Louisma?
It absolutely was.
Did you see anybody with Mr. Louisma that day?
Yes, I did not make out a face. It was a white male, red hoodie. It was January, so I could see his hand. He appeared to have longer arms, and the white hoodie. I was standing in our yard at the time, which kind of went up from the road, so I was more looking at the top of the car, but I did see an arm.
Did you recognize the person?
No.
Did this message come to Melody before or after the defendant had been there?
After. The defendant was there about 1:30, 2 o'clock. Message came in about 8:30 at night.
What emotional impact, if any, did you see this have on Melody?
She was visibly scared. We went and stayed in North Liberty at her dad's house for at least a week. We packed up all of our stuff that night that we needed, and we left about 11 o'clock and went and stayed in North Liberty.
So the defendant and Melody had broken up, and he had picked up his property as of January 7th. To your knowledge, did Melody still continue to have some contact with the defendant after that day?
I think for a while they completely just stopped talking, but I do know that they started talking again, and she was open with me and let me know. At that time, it wasn't boyfriend, girlfriend, it was just friendly chat.
Based on your knowledge, of Melody as a person and the close relationship you have with her, were you able to tell whether she still had feelings for him?
Oh yeah, she did.
Did she tell you that?
Yes.
Did she ever express to you that she wanted to reignite the relationship or get back together with him?
Not in those words, but yeah.
Were you present at any time when the defendant made contact with Melody?
Can you rephrase that? I'm sorry.
Did you actually witness or hear the defendant and Melody talking?
Yes.
When was the last time that they talked?
Well, I do believe on the night of the 17th, but when the last time I remember her talking with him on speakerphone was the night of the 16th, Friday night.
Okay. So as of Friday the 16th, you knew that they were still talking?
I knew that they had started talking again.
Let's go to the day of February 17th into the night.
Okay.
Can you tell us what you and Melody did that day?
We got up, had breakfast. We went to Sam's. They have these chicken tacos that Melody really liked. Then we went to Aldi and got groceries. We went to Starbucks. That was her absolute favorite place. Then we went back home, put all of our groceries away.
Okay, about what time did you get home from the grocery store there?
I don't recall the exact time, but if I had to guess, it was probably 6. I'm not an early riser. I like to sleep in.
So after about 6 p.m. then, what did you and Melody do?
I made supper, and we She laid on the couch for a little while. Her hip was hurting. We just chilled for a little bit, and then I was like, hey, the couch isn't comfortable for both of us to lay on it, so why don't you come lay on my bed and we'll watch a movie. So we went in there and laid on the bed and watched a movie.
So about what time was it then when the movie, we were watching the movie or when the movie ended?
The movie ended right about probably 11:15.
Then what did you do?
I stayed in bed, and I was just, messing on my phone or watching TikToks or, something like that.
At some point in time, were you made aware that Melody had left the residence?
Yep.
How were you made aware of that?
The Life 360 app went off when she left the circle.
So you were notified by the circle that we talked about earlier?
Yes. And that's a diameter that I had shrunk way down, just really close to our house.
Were you able to determine what time she left the residence?
I think it was 11:27 p.m.
We'd like to present to the witness State's Exhibit 10J.
Tell me when you're ready.
We're ready, Judge. And do you recognize State's Exhibit J?
Yes.
What is that?
It is a screenshot of the Blink app that had my camera in the living room on it.
Does this depict what time she left the house?
Yes. However, she's not outside of the circle at this time, so there's a couple minutes different.
What time does it show that?
She's
The screenshot.
walking towards the door at 11:24 p.m.
Okay. Move to enter State's Exhibit number 10J, Your Honor.
Any objection to 10J?
No, Your Honor.
Exhibit 10J is admitted.
And we'd like to publish that too, Your Honor.
10J is now published.
Okay, Megan, this is State's 10J that you just described for us. What's depicted up in the little black and white photograph there?
That's Melody. It's kind of blurry because it's in motion. It's a picture of a video. She's walking towards the front door, going to put her shoes on, I would assume.
And then Castle de la Hoffman, is that what you call your house?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is this that clip from your Blink camera system then?
Yes.
Okay. Did you also, or did the Blink camera system also capture a video of that?
Yes.
Okay. And was that video also turned over, or did you allow the police to have access to that?
Yes.
Which one is it? Megan, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 10J1.
Okay.
Now, is that contained in the video of the link camera system? Is that turned over to the police?
Yes, I turned it over to the police.
And this has been provided to the defense in this case. We move to enter State's Exhibit 10J1.
Any objection to 10J1?
No, Your Honor.
10J1 is admitted.
Okay. And we'd like to publish that too, Your Honor.
Tell me when you're ready.
We're ready, Judge.
Publishing 10J1.
On this video, Megan, we saw something in Melody's hand, right?
Yeah.
And based upon your interaction with her, living with her, watching her in this video, what was in her hand?
Her phone.
And we also saw some flashing there.
Yep.
And based upon your knowledge of her phone, living with her, things like that, what does that flashing indicate in your experience?
Somebody's talking to her. She's getting a message.
So Melody's phone would flash like that when she'd be giving an incoming message?
Yeah.
Would it also do that if there was an incoming call?
Yeah.
I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit here for the purpose of a question or two. Did you ultimately recover her phone?
I did.
Were you able to, did you look at her phone?
I did.
Because you had her passcode and all that, right?
Correct.
Were you able to locate any kind of incoming phone calls or text messages or any other kind of electronic messages on her phone?
No.
Even though we saw the flashing and whatnot, you
Right.
weren't able to find that?
No.
What was Melody wearing when you last saw her?
She had black leggings on, and she had a peached long sleeve, like t-shirt material shirt on, had pastel color Iowa Hawkeye logo on the back. Her hair was straight down. Probably had some white Nike socks on. I don't know if she still had those on or not, but
What about footwear?
Hey Dude shoes. Kind of a light pinkish, reddish color, peach maybe. I don't know how to describe them.
In that video, if it appeared like she didn't have black leggings on, where would she have gotten those from?
If she didn't have black leggings on?
Yeah, is there an area in there where she could get some clothing at all?
In that little area we see her go into,
Yeah.
that's the front door.
Okay.
I think it appears that she doesn't have black leggings on because of the night vision of the camera.
So even though you don't see the black leggings, the night vision of the camera would not necessarily show that?
Distorted a little. Anybody that knows Melody knows that she always had black leggings on.
Okay. All right. So you got the notification from Life 360 that she had left the circle there. We just saw her on the Blink camera footage leave. Now, you said you were in your bed, maybe on your phone. You just got done watching a movie. Did you reach out to her after she left and you got that notification?
I did.
How'd you reach out to her?
I sent her a message. I can't recall which device or which, if it was Facebook Messenger or Snapchat. And I said, "Are you kidding me right now?" Because we had just made plans to get up early and go to Grandma's house or great grandma's house, and it was 11:30 at night. And I was like, "We're not going to get up early if you're staying up all night."
You thought you were done for the night, and here she is leaving.
Yeah.
We'd like to show the witness states exhibits B1 and B2, Your Honor.
Tell me when you're ready.
We're ready, Your Honor.
Counsel, I'm sorry, what were those numbers?
Maybe I said it wrong. 10B is in boy 1, B2.
Thank you.
They're up.
Do you see those?
I do.
Do you recognize states exhibits B1 and B2?
I do.
Okay. And what does this depict?
My messages to her.
Now that you see these, are you able to say how you sent these to her, like through what medium?
Text message.
Just a regular
It's
old?
just regular old text message.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of the text conversation you had with Melody after you got the notification that she left the residence?
It's an exact screenshot of it.
Move to enter states exhibits 10B1 and B2.
Any objection to 10B1 and 10B2?
No, Your Honor.
10B1 and 10B2 are admitted.
I think we're ready to publish those, Judge, when you are.
Publishing now.
So, Megan, this is States Exhibit 10B1. It's pretty tiny up on the top there, but is that what it's labeled as?
Yes.
Okay. And on 10B1 here, we see that the title of this conversation here is Melody. So that's you talking to Melody?
Yep.
Is this on your phone?
Yes.
Okay. And so you told us a little bit ago that your first message to her was, "Are you kidding me right now?" So are you in the white bubble and then she's in the orange bubble?
Correct.
All right. So let's go through this here. So, again, could you just repeat to us what you said to her?
Okay. Are you kidding me right now?
And then did she say, "I'll be back"?
She did.
Okay. And then what did you say next?
When? Got your keys?
And in response to that, did she say, "I didn't unlock it"?
Yes.
What was she talking about?
She meant I didn't lock it.
Okay. So she meant she didn't lock the door?
She didn't lock the door.
Okay. And then what do you say in response to that?
I said, "It's locked now. Text me when you want in."
And did she respond, "Okay"?
Yes.
And what was your response to that?
Better not be too late. I'm not staying up much longer.
Okay. And then I think we go on to state B2 here. All right. And so in response to you saying you're not going to be up much longer, how did she respond?
IK.
What does that mean?
I know.
And then what do you say in response to that?
Don't you dare lose your ring.
That's about 14 minutes later, right?
Yep.
Is that just something you thought about?
There's a long history with the class ring.
Okay. All right. Has it been lost before
Yes.
and found?
No.
Oh,
Replaced.
replaced. Okay. That had to be pretty expensive.
Yes.
Okay. So you're telling her not to lose her ring, and then what'd she say in response to that?
I know, Mom.
Okay. And then at 11:47 p.m., what do you say to her?
Around what time are you coming home?
And how does she respond at 11:47 p.m.?
I don't know, Mom. I'll let you know.
And then, we'll get to this later, but what's the next entry?
An Apple SOS message, an automatic message sent to 4 of her chosen recipients.
Does that message indicate a crash?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So as we discussed earlier, were you able to track Melody's location then as she was sort of moving about
Yes.
town for a while that night when she wasn't with you?
Yep,
Okay. And did you do that through the Life 360 app?
I did.
And you already explained to us kind of how that works, about leaving the circle and things like that, but are you able to continue to watch, where she's going?
Yes.
And so basically you're watching her phone, but her phone's with her, so you're watching her?
Yeah.
As you continued to track her location through the Life 360, where did you see that she ended up going first?
Towards Morgan Creek Park.
And just for the record, is Morgan Creek Park in Lynn County?
I do believe so.
Okay. All right, and then as you watched her and she went to Morgan Creek Park, where did she go next, or where did her phone and her go?
Over by the Cherry Hill Park area.
All right, so she goes to Morgan Creek, then she goes to Cherry Hill, and then where does she go?
It kind of does a little jump, which was like it was catching up with itself or something, and so there's a weird line, but it puts them back on the road coming back towards Marion, towards our house.
So did she go to Morgan Creek, Cherry Hill? Did you recall she went back to Morgan Creek?
I don't recall. I think you have to go towards Morgan Creek a little bit to get back on the roads that they would use to come back to Marion.
I'd like to present to the witness what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 17AA for identification purposes.
Are you ready?
Do you recognize State's Exhibit number 17AA?
I do.
What is that?
Screenshot of my phone of Life 360.
And on this screenshot of your phone, is this a screenshot of Life 360 of you tracking Melody's movements that night?
It is.
Is this something you turned over to law enforcement in this case?
It is.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of the screenshot from Life 60 that you took of Melody's movements on or about 12 o'clock a.m. on February 18th?
It is.
Move to enter State's 17AA, Your Honor.
Any objection to 17AA?
No, Your Honor.
17AA is admitted.
We'd like to publish that when you have a chance, Your Honor.
Published now.
So let's talk about what we're looking at here in this screenshot, Megan. First, on the top it says 9-mile trip, and 1 a.m. to 1, what's that, 1:01? What's that mean?
It is. It's showing a starting point and an ending point, and I don't know if the app was struggling or whatever. It has obviously drawn a straight line, and you can't drive that, but it's an ending point and a starting point of what her location was.
Does that show potentially a line between approximately where Morgan Creek Park is and then up into the Marion area?
It does.
Okay, 'cause could this be like an overall indication of the what Life 360 captured as her overall trip?
It shows the starting point and the ending point of her trip.
Okay. And then we go down to this address of 7212 E Avenue Northwest, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Is that Morgan Creek Park?
I'm not sure what their address is.
Right beneath it, it does show Morgan Creek Park, is that right?
It does.
Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that's not the address of Morgan Creek Park?
I have no reason to believe that.
And so, at that point in time, then, it indicates a 2-mile trip and then has some lines on a Google map. You see that?
Yep.
Okay. Does that show a starting point for that 2-mile trip? Or at least what area the 2-mile trip covered?
It does.
Based on your knowledge of the Life 360 app, does this show that between 11:56 p.m. and 12:02 a.m. Melody was traveling from that Morgan Creek Park location to another location, potentially back again?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And that other location, which is kind of on the bottom right area where the triangle's pointing, are you familiar with what's in that area?
I think it's the Cherry Hill Park area.
So based on your knowledge of Life 360, does that show that she was in the Morgan Creek and Cherry Hill Park area between 11:56 p.m. and 12:02?
I would be comfortable saying that.
And based upon, what, if anything, did you find significant about Melody traveling to the area of Morgan Creek and Cherry Hill Park in terms of who she may be with?
I had witnessed her in the past travel about that same route, and I knew it was because the defendant's family had a home over there in that neighborhood.
So did you know that the defendant's family lived near the area of Cherry Hill Park, Morgan Creek Park, in that area?
I did.
Did that lead you to believe that she was likely with the defendant?
I did.
Did you kind of have the feeling she was anyway?
Yes.
On a previous occasion, did you have knowledge that Melody and the defendant had went to Morgan Creek Park together?
Yes.
And what happened when they went to Morgan Creek Park?
They picked up a stray cat and brought it home.
Okay. Did this stray cat become a part of your family?
No. She would have liked it to be.
Is that the kind of thing that Melody would do?
Absolutely.
So you knew before this date that she and Mr. Louisma had been to Morgan Creek Park and that he lived in that area?
Yes.
In addition to your feeling and Morgan Creek Park and that history with that, would there have been, based on your knowledge of Melody, anybody else that she would have been with late at night?
No.
Your Army reapproach? Taking a couple questions before we go back to where we left off here.
Okay.
What kind of vehicle did you know the defendant to drive at the time this all happened in February of 2024?
It was a little bit older, dark blue Honda, I think, Accord.
Okay. And because I don't know that we got an answer for the record here, I asked you before the lunch break whether you, to your knowledge, Melody had any other boyfriends at the time that message was sent back on January 7th.
No, she did not.
So we're going to pick back up here with some exhibits, and I'm going to ask to show the witness State's Exhibit number 10E2 for identification. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And Megan, what is depicted in State's Exhibit 10E2?
It is a picture of Melody's phone laying on something, a table or something. And she has, it appears to be, there's a map showing. I can't decipher what app it is, but.
And did you have a chance to, look at Melody's phone once you recovered it?
I did a little bit.
How do you know this is Melody's phone?
Her picture is on this map as her little, I don't know what that's called, icon. I do believe this is like 360, but I can't tell because of this broken monitor.
Move to Interstates 10E2, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 10E2 is admitted.
Permission to publish.
Publishing now.
Okay, Megan, now we're looking at State's Exhibit 10E2 here. Is this the picture of Melody's phone that you were just describing for us?
Yes.
And you said this looks like it might be some kind of map, app, or function in her phone.
Yes.
Are you able to recognize what app this is?
I am not an Apple user. I'm an Android user, so they look a little different from device to device. But
Right about in the bottom middle there, it says search maps on that, right?
I can't see it. Oh, search maps. Okay.
Did Melody have an iPhone?
She did.
Okay. Does this look like the map function on the iPhone? Potentially?
Yeah.
Now, this has an indication on a Morgan Creek Park. So what did that tell you when looking at this exhibit?
That she was near Morgan Creek Park or had been there recently or, yeah, I'm not.
And
Not
is this,
100% sure,
is
but-
this what came up on her phone as far as the map function when you would tap on it?
I'm not sure that I tapped on it that night. I was more trying to figure out who she was with. Because I had all the map locations on my phone from the Life 360 and the other things.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Appreciate it. Moving on, then, I think we were talking before the break about you watching her path of travel. Then we had the exhibit from Life 360 that showed that she went to Morgan Creek, Cherry Hill, Morgan Creek, and that kind of loop, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so after being in the area of Morgan Creek, were you able to watch and track where she moved from there, where her phone moved?
Came back to Marion.
And do you remember what location of Marion it came back to?
Close to our apartment, but an apartment complex a little bit away from us.
You remember what street that was on?
Can't recall the street name.
Is there a street near your apartment complex called Meadowview Drive?
Yes, yes, right off of East Post Road.
And is there an apartment complex in approximately the 1400 block of Meadowview Road?
Yes,
Sorry, Meadowview Drive is what I meant.
yes,
And is that the location where you saw then her phone and presumably her then proceed to?
yes.
You kind of touched on it, but why is that the 1400 block of Meadowview Road Drive and the apartment complex, why is that significant? How close is that to your house?
A couple blocks, a block. The size of the blocks over there are strange, so.
So she's, at this point in time, she's about a couple blocks away from your house.
Yeah,
And based on your then watching her location and movement at that time, did she stay or did it appear that her phone had stayed in that area for some period of time?
yes.
Did she make contact with you at that time or did you make contact with her?
Yes.
And do you remember how she reached out to you?
I think it was via Snapchat.
Now, previously in the evening you had spoken via text,
Yep,
messaged via text, right?
correct.
But this message came in Snapchat?
Yes.
Do you remember approximately what time this conversation with Melody via Snapchat occurred?
What time it started? Probably around the 1 o'clock hour, maybe a few minutes after.
Your Honor, I'd like to present to the witness State's Exhibits C1 through C4.
Counsel, is that the correct number?
Yeah, 10C1, sorry, I forgot the 10 in front of it. Yeah. You see that?
I do.
Megan? Okay. And do you recognize what's contained in States Exhibits 10C1 through 10C4?
Yep.
Is this screenshots of your conversation that you had with, who you believe to be Megan on Snap, or Melody on Snapchat?
I do believe it was Melody on Snapchat.
Move to enter states C1 through C4.
Is that 10C?
10C1 through 10C4.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
10C1 through 10C4 are admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
Publishing now.
Before we get into these messages, I want to ask you, Megan, while you were talking with her, were you still confirming her location, as you previously noted, at being on the apartment complex on Meadowview Drive?
I was.
So starting here, this appears to be a screenshot where the conversation is taking place between Mel, the only one that matters. Tell us about that.
My child is the only one that matters.
Is that what you called her on Snapchat?
It was.
And then that conversation took place between you and then Mel.
Yeah.
So on here where it says me, that's you?
Correct.
You okay?
I am.
Okay. So it starts with Mel saying, "I'm on my way." See that?
I do.
Okay. And what did you say then after that?
Correction, I am the one. Wait, I'm sorry. Okay, she said, I am on my way. I said, all right.
And then she says, "Can you leave the door unlocked for me?"
Turn on your location. I'll get up and open it.
That question, "Can you leave the door unlocked for me?" is that something that Mel would normally ask you?
Typically, no, because she was very responsible about making sure she had her key, and like she wouldn't have just said leave the door unlocked. She would have said, "I'm home. Come open the door."
So you say in response to that, "Turn your location on. I'll get up and open it." So what had happened at that point in time then, from where you had been watching her location to you asking her to turn it on?
Somebody shut it off.
So at some point in time, either when this conversation started or during this conversation, the location on Melody's phone turned off so you couldn't watch it anymore?
Correct.
So after you said, "I'll get up and open it," Mel says, "Okay," and then she said, "I'm down the street." What did you say in response to that?
It's open. Why are you down there?
So notably, I just want to ask, when Mel says, "I'm down the street," does she write like that usually or talk like that usually?
No.
So you ask, "Why are you down there?" And then Mel says, "Seeing a friend." And what was your response to that, if you can see it?
No.
Okay. And then I think we can go to States Exhibit C2, or 10C2, I forget to say 10. So after you say no, then Mel says, "I'm literally coming." How do you respond to that?
Good.
And then it looks like you maybe give her some motherly-like directions there.
Absolutely.
All right. What did you tell her?
Get out of their apartment's parking lot. You will get charged with trespassing, especially at 1 a.m.
And then she says in response to that, "I'm not trespassing. We are literally just sitting in the car and talking." See that?
Yes.
And how did you respond to that?
Yeah, on their property.
Is this kind of a conversation that you might have with her, you think? Trying to explain to her?
Kind of.
And then it says, "My friend stays here. That's why." That's what looks like Mel says here. And how do you respond to that?
The landlord won't care who the F you are. or who you know. Just get your butt back here so we can go to bed. You can call and talk. Hello?
And so somewhere in there, when you say, get your butt back here so we can go to bed, why did you say you can call and talk? Is there a break in
'Cause
there?
earlier she had said that they're just sitting out and talking.
So are you telling her to call you then?
Like she can call him and talk to him.
Okay, gotcha. And so why at the end here did you say hello?
Because there was a huge time delay in between the responses of messages.
Normally when you're talking to Melody, does she respond pretty quickly after that?
Immediately.
When you're in a conversation?
Immediately.
Okay, and so we see the beginning of another message here. So we're going to go ahead and switch to 10C3 here. Look at that. So at the top of that, we see the continuation there of what you're telling Melody. You can call and talk and hello. And then it looks like, well, tell us what's depicted here.
It's a video. She had posted it to her story sometime before this message was sent to me. I watched it, I was talking to her anyway. I seen her like listening to music, sitting in the backseat of a car. And it was that night.
So she's sending you, was this a video that was encrypted in this? Or?
Yes, it's a video.
So obviously we can't see the video portion, but this is a snapshot of what at least the title of the video looked like.
Yes.
Okay. What's it say?
Late night vibes.
So this is something you had seen earlier on her Snapchat story?
Yes.
All right. We'll go ahead and go down here. And you respond to that by telling her what?
Turn it back on.
What are you talking about?
Her location.
So the location hadn't been turned back on at that point in time.
No.
And then you said,
I already seen it.
are you talking about already seeing
The video.
And then what do you tell her?
The door is locked. Text me when you're coming in.
Now previously it looked like that she had asked you to unlock the door. You're telling her it's locked now. Right?
Yes.
Okay. And so you're telling her to go ahead and text you when she gets there and wants to be let inside.
Yes.
So after that, it looks like, what do you say next?
Hey,
And why are you saying that?
because there's another significant time delay and I haven't heard from her.
And then, I don't know if you can see it or not, but you say one more thing on the bottom of this one.
Hello?
Okay, now we're going to go to State's Exhibit 10C4. After you said hello, after that break, it looks like we see a missed call, or at least a couple missed calls. What's going on there?
I'm trying to get a hold of her.
For people who might not have Snapchat, is there a function you can use to call somebody on Snapchat?
You can call or video message or, yeah, it works just like a phone.
Okay. All right. And you tried to do that 3 times?
At least.
Any answer?
No.
And she didn't answer.
She didn't answer.
Okay, I think that's all we have for State's Exhibits 10C1 through 10C4 for now. Now I'm going to ask to show you another exhibit, State's Exhibit number 10E1. Do you see State's Exhibit number 10E1?
I do.
And what is that?
It's another picture of Melody's phone laying on something of the Life 360 app and one of our groups that we had.
And is this essentially a screenshot of the Life 360 app and some information on Melody's location?
Yes.
Move to enter States 10E1 and publish, Your Honor.
Any objection to 10E1?
No objection, Your Honor.
10E1 is admitted. Publishing now.
Megan, State's Exhibit number 10E1 is now published here. Is this a picture of Melody's phone in that Life 360 app?
Yes.
Or is this your phone? I'm sorry.
Nope,
It's hers?
it's hers.
Okay. And this is some kind of group you guys were in?
Yes.
All right, we got Deb and Marcella in there. Who are they?
Deb is my mom, Marcella is my grandma.
So you're all watching each other's locations, or you can track each other, right?
Yes.
And then here in the middle, it shows you at Castle de la Hoffman, right?
Correct.
And it says since 5:40 a.m. yesterday. So that just shows where you've been during this time.
That was taken Sunday afternoon because I had left and then I went back home for a little bit.
So when
Around
we say yesterday,
Oh, yeah.
this refers to what, Sunday morning? Then?
Yes, 5:40 Sunday morning is what, yes. That's
So then we have Melody here. And for Melody, it says location permissions off since 1:17 a.m. yesterday. What does that indicate?
somebody shut her location off at 1:17 a.m.
And that's 1:17 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
And was that during the same time you were having this conversation with who you thought was Melody, at least on Snapchat?
Yes.
And this would have been that time you were addressing with Melody's Snapchat account, who you thought was Melody, the location being turned off and telling her to turn it back on.
Correct.
Back to this, okay, I think we're done with this now. Thanks, Judge. Back to this video that you saw on Snapchat, the late night vibes. Remember that?
Yes.
You said you saw that previous in the night, right?
Yes.
Do you remember approximately the time you saw it?
In the 12 o'clock hour sometime?
Was it pretty early in the night?
Yes.
If the records showed around 11:40 p.m., would you have any reason to doubt that?
Absolutely not.
Your Honor, we previously submitted as an exhibit or presented as exhibit to the defense State's Exhibit number 10I. It's a video. Have you had a chance to review this video before of the late night vibes?
Yes.
Okay. Did that appear to be a fair and accurate copy of the posting that Melody put on her story?
Yes.
Move to enter and publish State's number 10I, Your Honor.
Any objection to 10I?
One moment, please, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
10I is admitted. Tell me when you're ready.
We're ready when you are, Judge.
You can publish.
Is that the video you saw on Snapchat story?
Yes, it was.
Is that your daughter, Melody?
It is.
What's it appear she's doing there?
Singing along to a song that she don't know the words to.
She wasn't doing too bad. Is that the video you saw earlier in the night?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Your Honor. So we talked about it a little bit, but at the time you were conversing with, the Snapchat Melody there, did you have any reason at the time to believe you weren't speaking to anyone but Melody?
No.
Has that feeling changed since then?
Yes.
Why?
After reviewing it and not being like worked up because I was mad that she wasn't home, That's just not how she talked. If you remember earlier on, instead of saying I know, she would say IK or abbreviate stuff, and the last set of messages were more spelled out.
So it's not the type of syntax or way that Melody would speak via text message or electronic messages?
No.
After this conversation with who you thought was Melody at the time, did you speak with her again?
No.
Moving on, what notification did you end up getting on your phone then at a later date?
She had set up for people of her choosing as an Apple SOS message that would detect an impact. So I received a text message around 3 a.m. that there was an impact detected. 3:13 a.m. to be exact.
And I think we saw a little bit of that earlier, right? When we were showing the exhibits, that it came to your text message?
Possibly, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And your recollection is that detection, that alert to you as a person selected by Melody as an emergency alert came to your phone at 3:13 a.m.?
Yes.
Your Honor, we'd like to present to the witness State's Exhibit number 10D. You see State's Exhibit number 10D?
I did.
And what does that depict?
The SOS message that Apple automatically sends out once it detects a crash.
Move to enter State's Exhibit 10D, Your Honor.
Any objection to 10D?
No, Your Honor.
Exhibit 10D is admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
Publishing now.
So we're looking again at picture of this SOS message that came into your phone via text message. Is that right, Megan?
Correct.
And then the time down there says, as you testified to today, 3:13 a.m.
Yes.
And is there an indication of a location through the Apple Maps here of where Melody's phone was?
Yes.
Okay. And can you just describe to us what we're looking at here?
It's where the crash was detected. I'm not sure what their exact criteria are to say a crash was detected. It's pinpointing a location on the on-ramp to Highway 100 off of East Post Road, or off of Edgewood Road, I'm sorry.
So this is the on-ramp into Highway 100 from northbound Edgewood Road, is that correct?
Say that one more time.
So we see Edgewood Road going north,
Okay.
and then that is that the on-ramp onto Highway 100?
Correct.
Okay. All right. When you received this message and you were able to see this location, what did you do next?
I didn't immediately react. Melody had set up Daisy, her aunt, also to receive these messages. She immediately contacted me and said that her and her husband were going out to the site to see if there was an accident.
Okay. And who's your husband?
Colby?
And so, to your knowledge, did Colby and Daisy then go out to this site to see if there was an accident out there?
Yes, they did.
What was your thought at this time when you saw this and called Colby and Daisy into action?
They actually called me saying that they were already in action, so I tried to stay at home and stay as calm as I could. knowing that they're reliable sources and they would let me know if I need to come out, and
Did Colby and Daisy then contact you?
they did.
And was that contact made while they were actively looking for this crash?
I think they had already gotten to the crash site and they called and said, there's no crash here. Again, at 3:13 a.m. or by 3:45 when they got there. Very dark, very quiet. You would have definitely seen a crash.
So Colby and Daisy went out to the site and they said there was no crash out there. Are you still at home at that time?
I am.
Now, you testified earlier that you had been watching Melody's movement that night, that she had been at Morgan Creek and Cherry Hill Park and those things like that, and that you had an idea that she may have been with the defendant, right?
Correct.
Did you reach out to the defendant?
I did.
How did you reach out to him?
Via Facebook Messenger.
All right, we'd like to present to the witness State's Exhibit number 10L. You see State's Exhibit number 10L?
I do.
State's Exhibit number 10L, what does that depict?
The very first part is way back on January 7th when he's telling me that he's there to pick up his items. And I said, okay, and then I proceeded to take them out to him. The next message I sent him was February 18th at 3:39 a.m.
Okay,
Asking him.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
Asking him if Melody was with him.
Okay. Does this exhibit contain a fair and accurate depiction of the conversation that you ended up having with him?
Yes.
Move to enter State's Exhibit number 10L.
Any objection to 10L?
No objection, Your Honor.
10L is admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
Publishing now.
And so we're looking at State's Exhibit 10L here, Megan. And you indicated that January 7th, 2024 is when Mr. Louisma had picked up the property from you, and this was the end of that conversation, right?
Correct.
So it looks like the two of you didn't speak on Facebook Messenger from January 7th to February 18th?
Correct.
And then February 18th at 3:39 a.m., you're sending him a message via Facebook Messenger. Can you read that?
Yes.
Are you able to see it?
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
And so what did you send to him?
Hey, is Mel with you? I need to talk to her now.
And it looks like there's an indication of an audio call. What's that?
I tried to call him because there's a time gap in between the no, not too much of a time gap there, but I didn't get a response right away.
Okay, so at 3:39 a.m., you messaged him and then you tried to call him a couple minutes later.
Correct.
And you can call on Facebook too, just like Snapchat.
Exactly.
Okay. So going down here at 3:56 a.m., does he respond to you?
Yes.
What's he say?
No, she's not with me.
And then what did you say in response to that?
Can you try and get a hold of her? I got a notification she was in a crash. Her phone called the cops too.
Did Mr. Louisma respond to that immediately?
Nope.
And then on February 18th, 2024 at 9:44 a.m., there's another entry as well. I think we can keep scrolling here.
Yeah.
What's that next entry at 9:44 a.m.?
Have you seen Mel? I still can't find her.
Now we're up to 9:44 a.m. here. At 9:44 a.m. on February 18th, 2024, obviously you hadn't found her yet, right?
Correct.
Did you know where she was still?
No.
Where were you think, when you sent that message?
Driving back into Marion.
We'll get to kind of what you did in a second here when we get done talking about these conversations. So then we jump to 10:46 a.m. and you send another message to Mr. Louisma. What'd you send?
Was Mel with you last night till about 1, then you dropped her off? I have her phone and I'm going to call the cops very soon if I don't hear from her.
So why did you ask Mr. Louisma if Mel was with him last night until about 1?
Because she was back in our neighborhood.
So that's why you chose 1 o'clock,
Yeah.
thinking that last time you saw her, or last time you had talked to her and saw her location at least,
It was like
around
1:17.
1 o'clock. And then you tell them that you have her phone and you're going to call the cops very soon if you don't hear from her. Why'd you tell them that?
Maybe if he would have relayed that to her, she would have been like, oh shit, mom's scared.
Okay. You thought maybe he could help you.
I thought if he was in contact with her and she was hiding out or something for some reason that, no, mom's being serious.
At this point in time, had you found Melody's phone?
Yes,
But you still didn't know where she was.
correct.
And then how does Mr. Louisma respond?
She wasn't with me. What's going on?
How did you respond to that?
At all? Do you have any friends that live close to us that you can check with to see if she's there?
Now, you're asking him if he has any friends that live close to us. Is that because, again, the last time you had seen her location was kind of nearby you?
Because she was at the apartment complex and I knew she didn't know anybody in the neighborhood.
How did Mr. Louisma respond to that?
No, BC. She never tells me to, whenever she tells me to come over, I tell her I'm not coming over without you knowing and you being there.
Now, when you read that, it says no BC. What's that mean?
I would guess because.
No, because whenever she tells me to come over, I tell her I'm not coming over.
Not coming over.
Okay, let's keep going in the conversation here. And then he replies, it looks like, to, do you have any friends that live close to us that you can check with to see if she is there? And what's he say?
I don't actually.
And then how do you respond to that?
I know you have been here. I have seen you on the camera. That's besides the point. Did you talk to her last night late at all?
And so that conversation with Mr. Louisma then, looks like that ends around that time. That would have been started around 9:46 or so a.m. if you went back. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about what you had done up to 9:46 a.m. So we had left off with Colby and Daisy went out to try to find the accident. Didn't find an accident. You were still at home. What did you do after that?
They told me that they were going back home. And I, the uneasy mom, was like, well, maybe she set her phone on the top of the car that she was in and it fell off. Okay, I'm going to go out there. I can't sleep anyway.
Right.
So I went out there and it was around 4 o'clock in the morning. 4:30 maybe, but this time I can't really remember. Very dark, very quiet, hardly any traffic at all. So I got near that location that you've seen on the map, and I shut my car off, parked on the shoulder, turned my hazards on, and I had my window cracked a little bit because it was cold out. Car's not running, radio's not on. And so I had taken her tablet with me and I connected her iPad tablet to my hotspot. I could send the notification, like find my phone notification or send an alarm from her iPad account to her phone. So I did that. Sitting on the side of the road, I kept doing that over and over. And I was like, I think I'm hearing things. So I rolled down the windows a little bit more. And I was like, no, I definitely hear an alarm. So then I rolled my window all the way down and I was like leaning towards it. And no, there's an alarm there. There's for sure an alarm. So I get out of my car. I have my headlights on. I have my flashers on still. It's safely parked on the side of the road. And I start to walk down the on-ramp. The sound's getting louder and louder. And then pretty soon I can see a glow. And it lights up and it dims and lights up. I get up to it and it's a phone laying face down on the white striped line.
So it was actually on the roadway?
Yes.
Is that a yes?
On the enter ramp onto Highway 100.
So when you say white line, it's one of those white lines, it's kind of it marks
The-
the lane.
Yes,
Okay.
the lane marking road.
In what position was the phone in?
Face down?
Could you see the light coming from it still? Even
Yes.
when it was face down?
Yes. It was like glowing off of the white line.
So did you know you had found Mel's phone?
Yeah.
At what time was that, you think?
Maybe 4:45.
What did
Very
you
early.
notice immediately about her phone when you picked it up?
Before I ever picked it up, I noticed there was no phone case on it.
Why did that stick out to you?
I had always bought Mel's phones, and I have always threatened her that if she broke her phone, because she didn't have a phone case on it, I wasn't buying another one.
So as a mom, you're thinking automatically, no phone case.
Absolutely. She was strict about always having a phone case on because she knew I wouldn't buy another one.
So the phone was obviously still had power.
It did have power.
All right. Did you look at the phone then?
I did.
Okay. Was that when you looked for any calls or messages or anything like that, or was that late?
At first, I was very careful. The whole back of the phone was shattered. Like glass shards sticking out of it, not just dropped it on the floor. It clearly was broken really bad. I picked it up quickly, kind of scrolled. The front screen was broke a little bit, but you could still use it. You could still see. I went to like text messages. I went to Snapchat. I went to Facebook Messenger. I think I even tried Instagram. Like, I'm not an Instagram user. I have an account, but that's because she set it up. But I tried everything that I would know that she would be talking to somebody on, and there was nothing. There was stuff that I had sent to her, but that was it.
So nothing that indicated any conversations with anybody through these apps or through a text from the night of February 17th into the morning of February 18th?
Correct. I didn't see anything.
So what did you do after that?
After when?
After you found her phone?
I think I went back home to see if she showed up at home yet. I grabbed a clear phone case and stuck on her phone because she had a whole bunch of them in her room. And I didn't want the phone falling apart. And then I stayed there, tried to stay calm and see if she'd show up. And she never did. Eventually, I drove back out to the location where I found her phone to see if her phone case was out there because I thought it was really suspicious that she didn't have a phone case on her phone. It was daylight now. I drove out there, same place I found her phone. I looked around. I even went like the on-ramps kind of merge weird right in that area. I went over to the other, I think it's an on-ramp, looked there too to see, maybe it bounced. Looked kind of down in the grassy area. It wasn't there. It was nowhere to be found.
So you didn't find her phone case when you went back out there.
Correct.
And approximately what time do you think that was?
Maybe pushing 8 o'clock-ish. I really don't remember the time. I
After
know
you
that
went
it was
back out
daylight.
to the scene, where'd you go after that?
I think I called my mom, and I was like, I had gotten a notification that my mom had left her house. And I said, hey, is Mel over there? She's like, I don't know, go look. Because I knew the pin to get in her house, and her dogs wouldn't, they know me. I lived there for 4 years, or 5, I can't remember, but I don't know, go look, we're not home right now, is what she said. So I was like, okay. So I went to my mom's house. My mom has a finished basement that has bedrooms down there. I went and looked around. I opened every single door in the entire house. Mel wasn't there.
So she's not at her grandma's house then?
Not at her grandma's.
Are you starting to get more concerned then?
Yeah.
What did you do next?
I think I drove through Marion, and I think I went to the police station.
And sometime in there is when you reached out to the defendant around 9:46 a.m., right?
Correct.
Okay. So you had her phone at that point in time, but you still didn't know where she was.
Correct.
And then at February 18th at 11:43 a.m., it looks like an unsent message. Do you remember that?
I don't, but the Marion Police Department at some time from the time that I got there until the time that we were notified that she was deceased, they had my phone.
Okay. So by February 18th, 2024, did you still have your phone at 3:11 p.m.?
No, I don't think I had it.
So tell us about when you found out that she was deceased. Were you at the Marion Police Department?
I was.
And as you sit here now, do you remember when you talked to a police officer? About what time?
So I went to the police department around 10:30, 10:45, 10 o'clock hour sometime. And I said I'm here to report a missing person. And they took me into a little room, and I filled out a whole bunch of paperwork, and I was in there for 2+ hours.
You remember talking to a Marion police officer, like a uniformed officer?
Yes.
If the uniformed officer's report said it was right around noon when he took the report for you, does that sound about right?
Yes.
So what we saw in this exhibit here earlier there, the conversations where the messages sent by you to Mr. Louisma, were those sent by law enforcement then?
Yes.
That wasn't you.
That wasn't me.
When were you notified that she was deceased then?
Seriously, that day is such a blur.
Sure.
Can't give you a time period. I know that I was downstairs for 2+ hours. Daisy came, brought me a phone charger. Shortly after that, and at this time, they had already had my phone, and she gets there with the charger, and I'm like, I don't need that now. Like, I don't even have my phone with me. We were escorted, her and I were escorted upstairs into a conference room where we were introduced to Ryan with DCI, and we were introduced to Police Chaplain Matt.
So is that when Ryan, so Special Agent Kedley, is that right?
Yes.
Is that when he advised you that Melody's body had been found?
Yes.
So in the days, hours and days after that, when Melody's disappearance and homicide was being investigated, were you contacted by Special Agent Kedley at any point in time or points in time to identify objects?
Yes.
Do you remember what he showed you?
Yes.
And what did he show you?
Melody's phone case.
Anything else?
Are you talking specifically that day or like in order?
Other days. So, first that day and then in the following
I was
days.
asked to positively identify, if I could, a piece of her shirt and also her glasses.
I want to present to the witness for identification, State's Exhibit number 10F, Your Honor. You see State's Exhibit number 10F?
I do.
What's depicted in that exhibit?
Melody's phone case.
Move to enter State's Exhibit number 10F, Your Honor.
Any objection to 10F? 10F is admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
10F is published.
Is this, what is this a picture of?
Melody's phone case.
Is this the phone case that she had on her phone when she left your residence the late night of February 17th, 2024?
Yes.
Is this the phone case you were looking for out on Collins Road and Edgewood Road?
Yes.
And how was this phone case, this picture presented to you?
Without a phone in it?
Did Special Agent Kedley show you this picture?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the purpose of him showing you this picture?
I do believe that they recovered it.
Were you able to identify to Special Agent Kedley that this was Melody's phone case?
Yes.
Now we'd like to present to the witness for identification, Your Honor, State's Exhibit 10G. You see that?
I do.
So not that day, but in the following day or two, were you also sent a picture of a pair of glasses by Special Agent Kelly?
Yes.
And is that what's depicted in State's Exhibit number 10G?
Yes.
And do you recognize those glasses?
I do.
Whose glasses are they?
Melody's.
Move to enter State's Exhibit number 10G, Your Honor.
Any objection to 10G?
No objection, Your Honor.
10G is admitted.
Permission to publish.
10G is published.
Is this the picture that Special Agent Kelly sent to you of the glasses you identified as Melody's?
Yes.
And did you tell Special Agent Kelly that you were positive these were Melody's glasses?
Yes.
You recognized them by the style of the glasses?
I ordered them off of Zenny for her.
I'm sorry.
I ordered them off of Zenny for her.
Okay, and I think we see that on there, that it says Zenny on there, right?
Correct.
Okay. And did you do some verification then with your order information that these were indeed the glasses?
I did.
Okay. So you have any doubt in your mind these are Melody's glasses?
No doubt at all.
Okay, I'd like to present to the witness State's Exhibit number 6N. Already been received in evidence, I guess, I think. One second. One second, Your Honor. I'm going to correct myself, and we'd like to show, and I guess republish, since it's already in evidence, State's Exhibit number 6U.
Publishing 6U.
Do you recognize what's in State's Exhibit number 6U?
I do.
What is that?
Melody's necklace.
For the record, this is an exhibit that was introduced through Deputy Mark Teat, photographed at Lily Pond, that we're looking at here. What was contained on this necklace, if anything?
Her sister's ashes.
Did she have a sister that passed away?
She does.
Did she keep them in a locket,
Exactly like this one.
like the one you have? Was that ever recovered and returned to you?
No.
Thank you, Your Honor. Megan, on February 18th, 2024, did you know a man by the name of Dakota Van Patten?
Never heard the name.
Did you know a man by the name of Logan Kempton?
Never heard the name.
To your knowledge, were either of these men friends with Melody Hoffman?
No.
On February 18th, 2024, did you know the defendant?
Yes.
That's all I have for now, Judge.
Cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Hoffman.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Hoffman, you and Melody were close, correct?
Very.
In fact, I think you've described her as your best friend.
I did.
And you've also described that Melody shared everything with you. Is that correct?
She did.
Including her relationships?
She did.
And I believe you said she was very open with me and kept an open line of communication, correct?
Yep.
I'm sorry, did I get an answer, Your Honor?
Yep.
Okay. And given that she was open with you about her relationships, you were involved in making sure that she had birth control available to her, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were involved in making sure she used birth control.
Yes.
At any point, did she ever share with you that she was pregnant?
Oh.
And given your relationship with her, there's no way she could have experienced a medical episode like a miscarriage without your knowledge, correct?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Earlier today, when you were describing McKinley Louisma in January of this year, you referenced a possibility of a pregnancy on direct exam. Do you recall that?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
When you were describing McKinley Louisma in January of this year, when you indicated that there was a possible baby or a possible pregnancy, do you recall saying that on direct exam today?
I don't recall saying that direct regarding Melody.
Okay, and my question is, when you were referencing a possible baby, you were not referring to Melody being pregnant, correct?
Correct.
Regarding the threatening text messages that you said arrived on January 7th, did you ever determine who sent them?
No, they were sent from a Text Now app.
And you testified that you notified police of those messages, correct?
I did.
And police never determined who sent them, is that correct?
I don't know the answer to that.
But you stated today that you thought you had a belief about who sent them, is that right?
I did.
But any belief that you have is just speculation. You don't have any evidence to support that?
Counsel, please approach. The objection is sustained.
Ms. Hoffman, regarding the exchange of property after the breakup between Melody and Mr. Louisma, you described that there was no incident when he actually came over to pick up the property. Is that correct?
Correct.
In fact, at one time you described the property exchange as peaceful. Is that correct?
Yes.
So is it fair to say that while Melody and Mr. Louisma might have argued prior to the actual exchange of the property, the exchange itself on January 7th was peaceful that day?
Melody did not have contact with the defendant that day. I did the exchange.
Okay. And was arguing over their property the only negative interaction that you had witnessed between Melody and Mr. Louisma?
Yes, it was.
After Melody and Mr. Louisma had broke up, was Melody still on a dating app to your knowledge?
She's a 20-year-old female. I don't know.
Okay. After Melody and Ken broke up in January, did you see them get together in person ever after that?
I did.
Did you eventually allow him to come back into your home?
On one occasion, I was notified that he wanted to come visit.
And did you allow him to come in?
Reluctantly.
And to your knowledge, did that visit at your home involve any incidents or any arguments?
Melody informed me that he wanted to come over and she wanted to see him. And I said, okay, but stay in the living room where the camera is so I can see you. No incidents, no arguments, no nothing.
I don't have any further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and take our afternoon recess, be about 15 to 20 minutes. Have a good break. Please remember the admonition, and we'll see you back here shortly.